So what you admit is that your committee was not able to reach a compromise, and you went ahead to read out a decision of one faction of that committee. Is that what you did?
No, the committee was not in factions. Like I said, Labour was represented, government was represented, and stakeholders were represented.
Who are the stakeholders?
So the stakeholders were prominent citizens of the state. One of them was 2 times Secretary to State Government, and another was the Nasarawa Consultative Forum, a spokesman of the Nasarawa Consultative Forum, and a retired permanent secretary in the state. They represented the stakeholders.
Which essentially might be people tilting towards government, because if you have been a secretary to the government before, you will understand, just how government position is, and they could be tilting towards the area of government. If that is the case, would you still say that, you took on, because the essence of a committee would be to reach, find a way to reach a compromise and be able to put forth this united front. But it would seem that that was not what transpired.
No, you see, they had no reason to tilt towards government position, because as retired civil servants, they are more or less part and parcel of the beneficiaries of salaries, because they are pensioners. So even their own interest will be at stake. They will have no reason to tilt towards government position in this matter.
One of the outcomes we are looking for was definitely not a strike action, which is definitely what has come out of this. How do you see Nasarawa State proceeding from here?
Well, the strike was as a result of Labour's inability to comprehend the situation on the ground. They had no reason to go on strike without actually taking into account the real situations on ground. Here is a state that for 5 years consecutively has been paying without fail and without any default.
As you should.
Yes, yes.
Because you must pay the workers'
I
salaries.
emphasize this point because as we are talking with you, there are so many states that are far behind in the payment of salaries, or in areas of 5, 6, 7 months. So if Nasarawa State would, despite all the hardships in the country, keep faith with the payment of salaries for 5 years without arrears and without fail, I think there's no reason.
Just a moment. I think that, first of all, state governments must always get it clear that, paying workers their salaries is not an act of benevolence. It's workers' due. If they have worked for their pay and you're able to pay, by all means you should pay. It's not an act of generosity. Or is that how the state government views it?
It becomes an issue when you look at the global situation in the country. When so many states are unable to pay completely and all areas for 5, 6 months.
If the government,
then you have this state.
If the government of Nasarawa State has had foresight and and had saved for the rainy day, as it were, and is able to have something to tide it over, why should it be able to? Why should it make it look like it's an act of benevolence, to the workers? It's what is owed them, isn't it?
Yes, and the government has never defaulted. The government has never defaulted in the payment of these salaries from 2011 till 2016, before the strike.
Now, agreed that times are tough, and the Nasarawa State government is looking for ways out. But they have accused the government of also not being sincere enough in terms of cutting some of the expenses, especially around Government House. Can the government say very clearly that they have actually been able to make some sacrifices in terms of how, for instance, Government House is run?
Good. First and foremost, the governor himself has slashed his own salary by 50%. The deputy governor has his salary slashed by 35%.
They don't see that as...
all the political office holders...
They talk about security votes. They believe that those are the areas, where they want to see slashes. Is anything still being done about that?
Fine. Security vote is tied to security situations. You know that Nasarawa State, for the past 4 or 5 years has had a lot of security challenges. In fact, the security in the state was so threatened before 2015 election that nobody thought that the elections in Nasarawa state could even hold in 2015. So because of these enormous security challenges, the government certainly needs the security vote. And the security vote, to the best of my knowledge, is expended towards securing the state.
How much is the security vote of Nasarawa state?
I don't know the figure, but I think it's within about 200 million or so. I'm not very sure. But whatever it is, I know that the governor of Nasarawa state does not collect the same security vote as do other governors. In fact, his is one of the least compared to other state governments in the federation. And he has the greatest, one of the greatest security challenges to contend with.
I'm going to let my colleagues come in at this point.
Mr. Osman, the question I'd like to ask you is, you said something earlier about the Labour pulling out just when the report was about to be submitted. Why did Labour pull out?
I think Labour is the best position to answer that, because they were part and parcel of the committee. They took part in the deliberations of the committee from day one, and the atmosphere had been cordial and convivial amongst all members of the committee until the last day, when all of a sudden Labour came to say that they had consulted their congresses and they have come up with a position that they will not be part of any of those things going on.
You know, it's strange.
But they sought permission to make further consultations and get back to the committee, which they never did.
Mr. Osman,
until the report was submitted.
It comes forth as being strange that you have someone you've been having a conversation with for a long time and the person is agreeing with everything you're saying. That's what you've said so far. The person is agreeing with you, and then suddenly on the final day, the person gets up and says, I'm not doing it again, and you still go ahead, not bothering to find out why they pulled out. Does the state government care at all about its staff?
Yes, the state government cares so much about its staff, and that was why during the implementation of the minimum wage, the Nasarawa state government adopted a triple wage policy, which saw the salaries of civil servants tripled, while other states, don't forget sir, other states, there are some states in the Federation that up till now have not even implemented the Minimum Wage Act of 2011.
You know, Mr. Osman, when you make these comparisons, some people will not take that lightly, because you sound like saying, if my children, if I don't have food in my house, my children should not cry, because there are some houses that do not have food at all to eat. That's what you're saying. Because some other families cannot eat, my children should not cry for food. Is that what you're saying?
I only emphasize that point to underscore the importance.
Importance of what?
I emphasize that point to underscore the importance.
Okay, you said something.
How Nasarawa state government takes care of its workers.
Is that also why the Nasarawa state government...
And it has been so the relationship has been so cordial from 2011 when Governor Al-Makura came to power till 2016. There has never been any labor crisis in the state, except this one, which was prompted by circumstances far beyond the control of the government. So all the labor needs is to show some understanding, because government has put its cards on the table.
You said
the labor and the public to see.